Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Zach's Credit Card Guide. This week we're talking about the 6 things that I think about before I get a new credit card, and you should too. Now these are not in any particular order because I think they're all equally important, so let's jump right into it. The first thing is you want to look at the fees and everything associated with the card. Usually when you apply on that website, there's usually a place where you can see like card details or rate disclosure. There's usually something like that there. So you want to click into it and check out the interest rates that are available and any fees that you might get if you plan on doing a balance transfer. What does that look like? Are there foreign transaction fees? I don't know about you guys, but I'm in this to travel, so it is nice to know which of my cards have foreign transaction fees and which ones don't, and just all the other things associated with that. So you do want to click through to that page, check out the fee structure, just so you know what you're getting into. Number 2 is, does the card have a downgrade path? Now obviously this only applies to cards with annual fees, but a lot of cards make a ton of sense in at least year 1, and usually even after that, like year 2, 3, a lot of times you're still getting value compared to when you first open the card. But eventually maybe your strategy changes. For whatever reason you don't want that card, maybe some benefits go away, maybe the annual fee goes up, whatever the case, later you may not want that card anymore. A prime example right now is the Chase Sapphire Reserve. A lot of us got it a couple years ago when it was launched because it's a no-brainer card. But now starting next year, because they just kind of did a 180 on this, but stick with me. So like next year, the Sapphire Reserve annual fee is going to be $550. Maybe it's not worth it to you at that price point, so maybe you want to downgrade it. Luckily with the Chase UR cards like the Sapphire Reserve, you can downgrade it into a no annual fee card like the Freedom Unlimited or the Freedom. So that's what you want to do. You want to avoid closing cards if at all possible, and it makes it real easy if there's just a downgrade path into a no annual fee card, because then you keep that relationship with the bank, you keep that account history on your credit report. There are just so many reasons to avoid closing an account if you can help it. So if you're eyeing a new card, look if it has a downgrade path. It's not the end of the world if it doesn't, but it's something good to know so that you can keep that in mind for your strategy going forward. The next thing to think about is, what does it earn? What kind of points? Is it cashback? What does the card earn, and are you going to use that currency? It can be helpful to think of credit card points as a currency like any other, because you can trade them, they have value, and you can use them for goods and services. So they are kind of a currency like anything else. So before you get a card, you want to look at what does it earn and is that valuable to me? So one example of a card that I don't particularly think is valuable is the Uber card that is now kind of discontinued, or at least on hold, but anyway, it earns Uber Cash. It's just points for Uber. I don't know about you, maybe you love Uber, maybe you live in San Francisco, you don't have a car. Good on you, if that's what you want to do, but like for me, I don't take Uber that often except like from the airport a couple times a year. So a card like that to me is not valuable. I would much rather use like a Chase card and get UR points because I can use those to book travel. But maybe you don't even care about points. Maybe right now you're just focused on cash back and that's all you want. So that's why it's important before you apply for a card to just know what kind of points or whatever that it earns. And also when you're looking into point systems, be sure that you know what you can use them for. Can you transfer them to partners like with Chase and Amex? Can you only use them on that system like Capital One? Can you exchange them for gift cards or cash back? It's not always the best use of your points, but know if it's an option if that's something you're interested in. So know not only what kind of points they are, cash back or points or whatever, but also what you can use them for and how. The next thing I think about is, what kind of benefits does the card come with, and will I use those? So again, I keep going back to the Sapphire Reserve just because it's one of the best cards to illustrate some of these points. So the benefits that that card comes with is like lounge access. Do you care about that? Do you fly a lot? A lot of these cards come with global entry / pre-check. Just get global entry. But a lot of cards come with that credit. Are you going to use that? And then there's all sorts of other stuff like primary car rental insurance, car discounts, all these little ancillary benefits that come with your card. Look into if you're actually going to use them. Like for instance, the Amex Gold has a dining credit that can be used at a couple places like Grubhub, Shake Shack, Cheesecake Factory, a couple other places. Maybe you don't have any of those in your area. Maybe Grubhub isn't in your city. Maybe you don't have a Cheesecake Factory, so that credit may not be worth anything to you. So look into the credits and the benefits that your card comes with and decide really what they're worth to you. Some credits can be valued like dollar for dollar. like the Sapphire Reserve, the $300 travel credit that's also going to be dining this year. It's dollar for dollar, and it's really simple to use, so it's easy to value that at like $300 and just kind of take that off of the annual fee kind of in your head to see if you're getting value or not. But something like the dining credit on the Amex Gold, like I said, it's only at certain participating places, and maybe you don't have any of those in your area. Or maybe you do, and you wouldn't really use them anyway, because that's another thing to think about with these credits. The best way to use them, the best value that you're getting, is if you would spend that money anyway. If you find yourself like having to think of an excuse to use it, like the Uber credits on the Platinum card, and maybe you like have to take a ride somewhere so you don't lose the credit, like if you get into that mindset, you might not be getting actual value, at least not to its full potential. So something to keep in mind when you're applying for a new card: look at the benefits, look at the credits, and really make a sound decision on whether you're going to use them and how much they're worth to you. The next thing to look at is the sign-up bonus. A lot of us open up cards mostly for that sign-up bonus in the first year, so take a look at it. One, make sure that you can actually hit it, especially right now. A lot of us aren't spending a ton of money, so some of these sign-up bonuses might be more difficult to hit. If you're working at home and you don't really leave the house a whole lot, you're not dining out as much, it might be more difficult to hit some of those sign-up bonuses. Now, do look at putting some of your bills and everything. That's typically what I do, is when I get a new card, if I think I might have a little trouble hitting that sign-up bonus, I'll just put that as the auto pay card on all my bills, and that'll take care of quite a bit each month. But sometimes, like some of these business cards over on the Amex side, they have minimum spend requirements like in the tens of thousands of dollars in 3 months, because a lot of businesses wouldn't have any trouble hitting that. So look at the sign-up bonus, look at the minimum spend requirement, and just kind of be honest with yourself, and do you think you can hit it? Because a lot of the times these cards that have like an annual fee, getting that sign-up bonus is what really makes it worth it, especially in year one, and kind of that outsized value you're getting in your first year can kind of even help justify keeping it for a couple years after that, depending on how you want to think about it. So missing a sign-up bonus is a real bummer. I never have, but I just imagine that it would suck, you know what I mean? Especially with like American Express, where as soon as you apply for and get a card, you can never get a bonus on that card ever again. So if you apply for a card and miss that bonus and now you just missed it forever, that kind of sucks. So be careful, know what the minimum spend is, and just kind of be honest with yourself and have a plan for hitting that minimum spend. The other thing to kind of keep in mind is look for articles or videos like on channels like this about what the highest bonus may be. Like maybe you're applying at a low point. For instance, right now, take the Chase Southwest Priority card, a card that I have. Right now is only offering like 40,000 points, where we talked about a couple months ago, I let all you guys know that it was offering 75,000, almost double. And these bonuses go through these kind of dips and everything else. They go through these cycles throughout the year, depending on when the banks want people to apply for the cards. So just keep in mind, is there a higher bonus? Do I need the card right now? Or maybe should I wait a couple months when historically that bonus has gone up? And the last thing that I think about before getting a new card, especially if it might have a place in my daily driver wallet, is do the bonus categories match my spending? Now, I have talked in the past about using the right card for the right transaction. At any time in my wallet, I'll have between 3 and 4 cards that I'm using all at one time, and depending on what I'm buying, I use a different card. So if I'm dining out, Sapphire Reserve. If I'm getting gas, Chase Ink Cash. If I'm at one of the 5% categories for the Freedom, that one's coming out. So right card, right transaction. But when you're looking at a card and you think it might end up in your wallet long term, is look at those bonus categories and ask yourself, do I actually spend money in these categories? So one in particular, let's take like the Amex Business Prime. It's a Amazon credit card, gets 5% back on Amazon. Maybe you're weird and don't shop on Amazon like the rest of us. So if you don't shop on Amazon, that card makes no sense for you. So look at those bonus categories and see if it's a card you're actually going to use long term. Now, that doesn't necessarily matter if all you're doing is chasing a sign-up bonus or whatever, something short term. It doesn't really matter. But if it's a card that you think might end up in your wallet long term, if you think it's something that you want to focus on for whatever reason, see if those bonus categories make any sense. So maybe for whatever reason, you really want to ramp up some Hilton points. For whatever reason, maybe you're planning a honeymoon or some sort of YOLO trip and you want to just rack up as many Hilton points as you can. So maybe you go get the Hilton Aspire card. Look at the bonus categories. One of them is it gets 7 times points at US restaurants. Now, if you don't dine out that much, if you go out like once a month, does it make any sense to get that card? Or should you just get something like the Blue Business Plus that gets 2 times everywhere, and maybe you'll earn more points that you could then transfer out to Hilton. So don't get immediately impressed by super high bonus categories. Again, like the Aspire card, it gets 7 times points at US restaurants. That sounds really interesting, but then when you dive into it, Hilton points themselves aren't worth that much. Besides a couple other categories, you're only getting them like at restaurants and like rental car companies. So look at, am I spending that much money in those categories to make it worth it? So that's it for this week, guys. These are just some of the things that I think about when I get a new card. My question for you guys is, which of these do you think is number one? Like, which is the most important tip? Let everybody know down below. If you guys have any other comments or questions, please do leave them down below. I tried to get to every single one. If you want to get in touch, if you have any one-on-one questions or anything like that, here's my social media links, and they're down in the description as well. And last, before we go, guys, if you enjoy straightforward, to-the-point content like this, please consider leaving the video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Pretty easy and free ways to help support the channel. That's all I've got for you this time, guys. See you at the next one. Hey, thanks for watching. Make sure to drop a comment down below and give the video a thumbs up. Here's some other videos that I think you'll really like. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos, and I'm on Facebook and Twitter as well. See you at the next one.